Hello everyone, Brad here with Custom Offsets. Got another episode of Lifts and Levels. This one's different finally for you. This is a McGaughys kit here. This is going to be specifically a McGaughys 7-inch. This is the premium stainless steel kit. And I know at first you're not thinking that I'm correct here, but it actually is the stainless steel kit. We actually have the faceplates off of this kit here. You can see the holes for it. We're actually going to have the faceplates painted a different color, the stainless faceplates. And when they say stainless kit, they don't actually mean the cross members and stuff are made of stainless. It's just the inlay pieces here, the decorative pieces are of stainless steel, and that's what that's referring to. And this one is going to be for 2011 to current GM 2500 HD and 3500 HD trucks. This one is going to be going on a 2015, I think that's what this is, 2015 Chevy 2500 HD. So let's get right to it here. Obviously, the one thing about McGaughys that kind of separates themselves from everyone else is this is a 7-inch kit, and this is a true 7-inch kit, meaning that everything is dropped 7 inches. As you'll see here, the two holes here for the control arm drops are dropped a full 7 inches. So that way at 7-inch height, all the angles are going to be completely flat or factory-like in that sense. CV axles, control arm and ball joint angles are going to be flat. You can see here, here's the diff drop for the front diff. This is going to be a full 7-inch diff drop. And so that's one thing that McGaughys does that a lot of the other companies don't do. So obviously we got our lower control arm cross members here, which I mentioned briefly. They're built out of 1/4-inch plate steel, which is nice, good quality stuff. Oh. You thought I was going to stick my foot there. All right, back to the McGaughys kit here. So like I mentioned, this is the premium stainless steel kit. So you get all of the fancier stuff like the inlays, which we talked about here, and then you get the box compression struts, which are these. These are compression struts, once again, which are basically braces that run from the rear lower control arm cross member up to the frame to brace the front structure there, or the cradle, whatever you want to call it. And then we got our shocks front and rear. These are McGaughys shocks. We actually have these painted black for this customer here. They normally come silver, I believe is the McGaughys standard color. New sway bar end links, stem conversions for the front shocks. And then you'll see here, these are upper control arms. These are not included in the kit. These are purchased additionally. They're not needed. You can reuse the factory upper control arms. But this customer actually has leveling keys in this truck, which we're gonna run on this kit, so you can actually get about 9 inches of lift out of it. So it'll be the same angles pretty much as running a leveling kit, which works fine on these trucks. And that's what these are going to be doing for us here. So that's why he purchased these. They're not needed, but they do offer them for guys who want to turn their kit up a little bit. So it's a nice option. Those also, the inlays are off of right now. We're going to paint to have painted. Obviously we got a lot of hardware here. We talked about the front diff drop, which I said is important here, 7-inch diff drop. This is a torsion drop system. As you can see, this is going to be part of the torsion drop brackets, meaning that the torsion bars are going to be lowered down here. They're not going to stay in their factory location. They will stay in the lower control arm, so the bars will come down with the lower control arms themselves. And then obviously McGaughys has their own, very own knuckles, as you can see here. And these things are quite massive, and they probably weigh about 60 pounds each. You can see here just the pure beef on these things, which is good when it comes to an HD truck. You definitely want that. McGaughys does a lot of cool things with their little bracing and stuff like that. There's these braces here that actually tie in between the lower control arm cross members in the middle, and then they brace them as well with the compression struts. So it's a nice theme that you can see that McGaughys does with their parts. We got the differential skid plate here. Once the diff gets lowered down and everything like that, that also ties in between the cross members as well, just to brace everything up once again. And then we got some more parts here. All of these parts right here are going to be for the front bump stops, to drop those down. There's 4 of them. They all pretty much look the same like this. Those are going to drop the bump stops down to keep them where they should be. And then right here, these massive plates here, these are just for the rear bump stops. And you can see it's a nice heavy duty construction as well. For the rear of the truck, blocks in the rear, these are a fabricated block that McGaughys makes. This is a 5-inch block. The rear gets lifted 5 inches. And then we got new U-bolts for the rear as well. Lifting the rear 5 inches and the front 7 inches will give the truck a completely level stance once it's all done. And then guys will also do ad lifts or something else like that if they want to lift the rear up more. Or some people like the squatted look. Also, we got one CV axle spacer. Most people may get this kit and think there's something wrong, I only got one spacer, but no, that's in fact correct. McGaughys has designed it so you only need one CV axle spacer, and it's a nice machined piece. You'll also see that this piece here, this raw piece of steel plate that you get as well, that's going to be a reinforcement plate that it gets welded in where you basically chop that lower cross member. A lot of kits do this. Pretty much all the kits have you cut the same piece, and then some manufacturers don't even bother to give you a piece to weld in. So it's not necessarily required to weld this in. It's a good idea to do so if you're looking to beef everything up and brace it up as much as possible. So that's what that's for. And I think really that's pretty much it. There is a lot of pieces to this kit. I don't know if I mentioned that there is these massive sway bar extensions, the end link extensions too. But yeah, a lot of pieces to this kit, but it is a pretty nice piece. One thing I really like about it is that it's a true 7-inch drop. Everything's dropped 7 inches, which is nice, and you don't see that a lot. So we're gonna go ahead and get that installed, and then we'll check back in later. All right, everyone, we got the McGaughys kit installed on the truck here. We got it up on the lift so we can run through the parts. First things first, obviously we got our new forged knuckles that McGaughys makes here, and these are quite beefy knuckles. I was actually very surprised at how thick they are and how heavy they were. We got the new shocks up here, and you'll notice that McGaughys has these two, the bump stop drops here. They're quite an intricate piece here. It's not just a simple spacer. They tie it into the frame and everything like that. There's a Lamborghini in the background running. As you'll notice, we actually don't have this kit isn't 100% done yet, so yeah, we don't have the brake lines in place or the ABS sensors or anything like that. They do not include new brake lines like some of the other kits do, but they do give you a relocation bracket for the brake line, and then I'm assuming you're gonna have to cut the original metal piece off of the brake line there. We did upgrade to the McGaughys upper control arms, as you can see here. I mentioned that earlier. And one thing to note is we do, if you'll see here, we have kryptonite arms on this, tie rod arms on this kit, but they do not work, and we found that out the hard way, because basically the inner joint on the tie rod here will actually hit the bump stop drop. So the standard kryptonite replacement tie rods will not work on this kit, so that's something to note yourself. I think if you went with the straight center link kryptonite and the tie rod, it should be fine, but the standard replacement tie rod does not work. So that's something worth noting. And then back to the kit here, obviously we got our front and rear lower control arm drop cross members here with the inlays that are custom painted. Once again, that's not how it comes, that is custom painted. We got the braces here that tie the two cross members together. You can see our front differential drops, full 7-inch drop there, as well as the lower control arm drops, sway bar end link, new sway bar end links. And then something unique about the McGaughys kit is you'll notice the compression struts, which are these pieces here. A lot of people like those. We get a lot of questions about them, and really what those do is pretty much it'll tie into the rear control arm drop cross member here, and then tie it into the frame back here just to brace everything up so there's no kind of movement in the front cradle there. And then what else? Pretty much that's it up front. Pretty much we have the front differential skid plate here, which you can see as well. We'll get some shots of that for you. That as well acts as a brace. And then, as we mentioned, this is a torsion bar drop system, so you can see where the torsion bar mounts back there. It gets dropped down as they stay in the lower control arm like they were from the factory. Moving to the back, simple block install and U-bolts in the back. So we got the new fabricated blocks in the back here, and then the new U-bolts as well. One gripe that I have is these look to be uncoated U-bolts, and they probably will corrode quite quickly, especially in Wisconsin here. They'll probably be corroded in about 20 more minutes. So maybe something to paint or finish on your own there. And then we got the new shocks as well in the back. And then you can't see it right now, but there's actually a bump stop relocation bracket behind the spring here. And it's a nice piece. It's not just some chintzy little spacer that they put up there. So that's a plus there from McGaughys. Looks like for the brake lines here, they just simply probably have you bend this bracket up, it looks like, and then they also have an extension up here for the brake line, and then they have you reorganized. They have you reorganized the parking brake cables here as well to have some slack into them. That's pretty common. And we're in the midst of putting some amp steps on, so disregard that. That's going to be pretty much it. That's the McGaughys 7-inch kit for 2011 and up, 2500 HD, 3500 HD, GMC, Chevrolet pickup trucks. Peace.